just when you thought that this was a week-to-week league in the NFL. I mean, you hear it all the time that that teams just move on from one week to another. You turn the page, you bury the film, you do whatever you want to do. We had Arthur Smith of the Atlanta Falcons on. He said, you tune out all the week-to-week noise, is what he had to say. I said, does that mean you ignore people like me? And he essentially said, yeah. You hear that a lot. Week-to-week league, 1 week's different from another, and then I'm sure many people in the NFL thought, hey, week 9, good riddance. Don't want to see that again. I mean, I mentioned Tampa Bay Buccaneers were off in week 9. They chose a great week to be off because they were, again, 11 games in which the team with a worse record took on a team with a better record, and 7 of the 11 games had the team with the worst record win, and the Bears almost made it 8. Yeah. Okay? And wow. So just when you thought, though, that you turn the page and the week's over, 2 things happen that makes you think. One thing thinks, okay, maybe we can turn the page because we got a bookend to the way that week 9 started. And then week 10 started. What do I mean by this? First things first, the crazy week 9 that we saw.
Crazy.
Okay? The crazy week 9 that we saw started with the sound of church bells, correct?
Yeah, sure did.
Church bells were ringing here in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
Because Von Miller had been acquired from the Denver Broncos by the Los Angeles Rams. And those church bells, was Les Snead going to the phone to complete the trade, because that's what Les Snead has, church bells. To say, you know what, I'm going to take a 2, I'm going to take a 3. And I'm going to go send it to the Denver Broncos, and I'm going to add Von Miller and his bulky ankle. And he doesn't have to play in the loss in a Sunday Night Football against the Titans, which obviously he didn't know was coming at the time. But, we're just going to do it. We don't have any draft picks anymore, pretty much, from first round, and now the second night, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're resting your feet up on the Lombardi Trophy looking at the beautiful Malibu sunset, if you're off on that second night of the draft, too. And then yesterday, we're finishing up the show. You look at me, Chris, and you say to me, Sean McVay just kind of smiled like a cat ate the canary smile in his press conference that he was just completing as we were going off the air at noon time, Pacific time, 3 Eastern. When he was asked, are you guys interested in Odell Beckham Jr.? Have you spoken to Odell Beckham Jr.? And he starts smiling. He goes, that's Les's job, not my job.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we go off the air saying, is it possible the Rams can do this again?
What?
And then we walk out of the building here and we hear the sound again. There it is. All the way from Thousand Oaks down to Baja, California. Here in Southern California. There it was again. Les Snead finishing the deal with Odell Beckham Jr.
Ridiculous.
He's a Ram.
Like what?
He's now a Ram. Cooper Kupp is his teammate now. Cooper Kupp's only won the Offensive Player of the Year for the NFC in September and October, and those are the only months in which you could actually win that award in 2021.
Yeah.
And, Bobby Trees, Robert Woods is there too, and Van Jefferson's been having a terrific season, and Deshaun Jackson basically said, I want out of here. You want me to take the top of the defense off? I'd like to get on the field. Yep. And they said go. And now who's coming? Odell Beckham Jr. And if you're having trouble in press man coverage and things like that, getting open, this guy can do it. He can do it. Why didn't he do it in Cleveland? Great question, man.
Great question.
Great question.
Great question.
Was he open enough that, Odell Beckham Sr. could open up a new editing firm? Was he open enough that it's Baker Mayfield's fault, even though Baker Mayfield put up a 40 spot with some defensive help in Cincinnati? Oh, man, he's coming here now to Los Angeles, California. He wanted to be in a big city or his home city. This is what I'm being told. And with all due respect to my friends in Wisconsin and the great people in Green Bay, Los Angeles is the number 2 media market in the country. And if he wants to go take his millions of dollars and rent a place down the road, from the Rams draft house, he can do that.
I think he lives here, too, in the offseason.
Okay, he lives here, too, in the offseason. That's right. We've heard about that.
Yeah.
So
take a couple million to buy a house.
there you
around
go.
He's also a celebrity. Like, he's not just a football player.
I've
This guy
also-
is legit famous.
Correct. And I have been told he is very tight, like this, with Von Miller. So there's that. And it's just the rest of this year, and it's an incentive-laden contract, and I cannot wait. Obviously, he won't be out there Monday Night Football, but the Rams.
Say that for sure.
I don't know. I mean,
I mean, who knows?
no, it's going to be a week 11
he's
for
gotta
the
be
rest of the
fresh,
season
right?
deal, man. Here we go. So the Rams are like, okay, we were 7-1, and let's add Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. And the question is it 2015 or is it 2021? That's what 2021 has in store for us, and it's just terrific. It's just great, man. Fun stuff. Rams have a bye week in week 11, and so in the same way that Cam Newton's first game as a Carolina Panther will be at home against Ron Rivera and the Washington football team, Odell Beckham Jr.'s first game as a Ram is going to be against the team that he said no thank you to.
I mean, come on.
At Green Bay, can't make it up.
Wow.
Home for Jacksonville, then at Arizona. Trying to avoid the season sweep. That's a Monday Night Football game. Home for Seattle. Good stuff. At Minnesota, at Baltimore, home for San Francisco. All of those games with Odell Beckham Jr., along with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Van Jefferson and Tyler Higbee and Darrell Henderson and Matthew Stafford, who's got to be looking around saying, really? Is this really happening to me?
I came here years ago.
Yeah.
Really?
Done
Okay.
this a long time
Because
ago.
I was throwing to Calvin, and then, Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones got some run and all that stuff. But really? This is all in one season, one team? Okay.
Cool.
Will it work, though? Everything's being pushed to the center of the table here. Will it work? What a question that will be answered, and it will be popcorn-ready material. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.